Go for liftoff in T-minus 30.
Stand by for further instructions, Minnesota Black Robe Regiment.
Secondary guidance systems engaged.
Minnesota Black Robe Regiment, it will be on my mark.
All systems are a go. All systems are a go.
Minnesota Black Robe Regiment, you are over the target. You are authorized to fire at will.
Hey, thanks for tuning in. I'm TC, host, founder, originator of Minnesota Black Robe Regiment. I cheekily am wearing my old there. I don't know how to do this anymore. I'm out of touch. I'm cheekily wearing my old T-shirt from my days with the Olmsted County Sheriff's Office just to be a jackass tonight. Because I've put out a couple of videos the last few weeks, but especially since Friday, that have, boy, do I have the back the blue at all cost bootlickers are out in force on my content, and tonight will probably not be any better, so I thought I'd throw that out there. But welcome. Thanks for stopping by. I am very pleased to have everyone here, and if you are a first-time viewer, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, share this out. This is a really important story. This is, I won't say it's breaking news, but I know that we're on the front end of the news that we will be sharing with you tonight about Sam and Nate. If you guys are not familiar with Sam and Nate's story, should head over to the description of this video and watch the original conversation that I had with them. And don't be surprised if you get angered by the story. But then in the description of this video, you also find a link to Brian from Here's the Deal doing a video breakdown of exactly what happened. And so I would love for you guys to watch that afterwards. Don't stop and go watch it now. Tune in here. And while you're here, text this out to your friends, message it out to your friends, Twix it out to your friends. I don't know, but yeah, share it out. We'd really love to get a lot of people in here. And then I'm going to show for myself real quick before I bring in the stars of the show. And the star of the show tonight, Samantha, is the star all the time. And as you guys know, at the end of the show last time, Nate took a big risk and publicly proposed to Sam, and I was, for view's sake, kind of keeping my fingers crossed, going, I hope she says no right in front of him on TV. Right here, I was, and then I'm like, no, she said yes, and I was happy for them, but I was a little disappointed because I didn't get any like shock value, but I did clip out the proposal and put it up as a short, and I have got some interesting comments about that, but yes, anyway. Somebody messaged me privately and thought I did it, like I set it up, like I did it just to drive up views, and I'm like, well, it didn't work very well, did it? So, but yeah, but while you're here, if you haven't yet, head on over to my membership side and pick a membership level, entry level or whatever, and join me in the fight to free our republic from the chains of tyranny that are constantly being heaped on us. And here in the state of Minnesota, we're finding out the Minnesota State Patrol is now ramping up their public safety for driving by employing brand new undercover ghost vehicles for your safety, folks. But yeah, I'm not even gonna I don't even know. That's your tax dollars at work. All of you conservative, neocon, normie-con types. Like, and by the way, I'm not a leftist. I'm not a prog left. I'm pretty conservative in my ideology. I'm a paleo-libertarian, paleo-conservative. I hate the state. And I hate spending wage slave dollars on anything that the state does. No offense to Sam, she's a teacher. I just don't want her. I don't want her to be mad at me for saying these things. But she's tough, by the way, so I don't want to be on her bad side. Um, I just have a hard time with small government normie cons who hate the government spending their money on anything until it comes to law enforcement. Then it's like, give them everything, give it all. They want Apache attack helicopters, they should probably have them for officer safety. Yeah, A-10 Warthogs, we're probably going to need that for cover when cops are pulling people over. You know what? Want cams that'll like record people's conversations from 25 feet away? Go check out Here's the Deal in the video that he did about that. But at the same time, you can't get any closer than 25 feet in Florida or Louisiana to a cop while they're while they're in the commission of their duties. So I just no. Spend no money on anybody anymore. Everything should be privatized. If you can't make it work, tough noogie. I hope it fails. Because the more money you spend on stuff when the state's doing it, the more it fails anyway. So, yeah, anyway, thanks for tuning in. Pick up a membership. And without any further ado, because that was a lot of do. Welcome and congratulations. You're still wearing the rock. In the cover photo, in the thumbnail video, you're still wearing the rock. So it wasn't not a scam, correct?
No, it wasn't a scam. It wasn't staged.
So, I mean, it took him long enough, but
it's just a miracle. He was completely anti-marriage, so it's a miracle.
Well, he dropped the anti-marriage part, and now he's pro-marriage and anti-tyrant. So I think, it's a good exchange.
I think he's always been an anti-tyrant.
Everybody say hi to the stars. Sam, you had your attorney. You had court yesterday that you didn't have to be to.
Yes.
Yeah, and your attorney went for you.
Yeah, he put in a written not guilty. So now there will be a pre-trial date. I'm just waiting.
Just waiting to hear when that will be.
Yeah.
And no forecast on that, no predictions, or I don't know how Nebraska works. Do you guys have a speedy trial process? Do you know?
It doesn't seem like it.
Or are you not in a hurry?
I have no idea, and my lawyer is very hard to get a hold of.
There, anybody who's dealt with lawyers, especially on criminal cases, will tell you right out of the gate that they can be very hard to communicate with, and it's really frustrating because you're paying them good money, right? You're paying them good money, and you want them to be very responsive for the amount of money that you're paying them, but then you have no idea on the hind end of it how many clients they're dealing with and how many days they're in court. I'm not telling you not to be frustrated. You're spending good money, but I just know how it works. And at least you're paying for an attorney and not going with a public pretender. So,
yeah, I don't think we would have.
Speaking of which, you guys have a GoFundMe, correct?
Yes.
Set up. Yep. A Veterans Affair Media. You are one of my moderators. Could we find their? What? Don't.
No.
I'm not supposed to. Am I being silly?
Children sneaking in.
My youngest is sneaking in.
Oh, that's fine. You guys, can you tell us what the GoFundMe address is, and maybe a Veterans Affair Media can find that and put it in the chat for people to head over and see what they can do to help?
I know it's on my page. Handle is the A Ultimate Slacker. I got it linked in there.
You have it on your YouTube channel?
Yep, A Ultimate Slacker under there. It's
a Veterans Affair. Could you go to Nate's YouTube channel, A Ultimate Slacker, and share his YouTube channel out, Let's get him some more subscriptions. What are you at now? I forgot to check before. I did no preparation for this.
480 or something like that.
Hey, wow, that's
It-
not bad for having just started it.
Yeah, I had like 20 until this happened, and yeah, quite a few
You're
people
welcome.
joined up.
Hey, the Angry Vet is here as well. Hey, Tav and AVA are here. So we're gonna one of those. Well, I will assume AVA will be able to find your YouTube channel and share that and your GoFundMe. The Angry Vet's probably medicated already tonight, so we'll be lucky if he doesn't pass out before the end of the show. Yeah, I said what I said, Vet. Kev is my buddy. So, anyway, so you had court. He put in a written a written not guilty, and the court accepted that. So you're still out on bond.
Yeah.
And so tell me a little bit about how you're feeling since we talked, because we talked relatively quick after this all happened. I think it was less than a week or right at a week that it all happened.
I mean, it's overwhelming. I'm a teacher, and I know that most of the staff know what's going on, but nobody's talking about it.
That might be the fault of a few of us who have been very vocal on the city of Bellevue's city Facebook page and the city of Bellevue Police Department's Facebook page. Which, by the way, if somebody in the chat is interested, one of my moderators would love to put that contact information up for the city of Bellevue Police Department and their Facebook page. We'd love for people to head on over there and let everybody know how we feel about what they're doing to Samantha. But Sam, you and I chatted a little bit yesterday before you started your long trek into the frozen north and back. You drove halfway to my state.
Yes.
And so I had said something to you that what makes you remarkable in this situation is the fact that you didn't go out looking for this. It just happened to you.
Yeah.
And I'm not disparaging people who go out and do audits. Obviously, I love the auditing community. There's some in the auditing community that, I think could learn a thing or two about how to do it, and they cause a bit of a kerfuffle sometimes in the way they do things, and like even Tav, the Angry Vet, and I have been chatting about vetting people who are doing auditing and what are they really for what are they really doing it for and why. But you weren't auditing. You were literally going, what the hell is going on in my driveway?
Yeah. I just wanted to make sure my niece was good.
So you stumbled onto this and have become a bit of an icon in the police accountability and the anti-tyranny community, and it's kind of thrust you into the spotlight. Obviously, Nate's channel hasn't, it's not like it's not skyrocketed up to 500,000 viewers and you're not getting people knocking on your door. And there again, not to be disparaging, the fact that in less than a month you've shot up to almost 500 subscribers, but you are finding yourself now kind of the center of attention because people are looking to you. No pressure. We don't want you to feel any pressure at all right now. But we're looking to you going, how is this going to play out? What, is she going to stand her ground and say, I'm not going to take the deal? And you said in the last show, I'm not going to take a deal. I didn't do anything wrong. I didn't deserve to be arrested. I don't deserve to be convicted. Are you feeling the same way?
I won't take a deal.
Okay, it was a great show. Thanks for stopping by.
There's no reason for me to take a deal. I didn't do anything.
And did your attorney tell you they're going to try and sweat you out to see how long they can drag this out to see if you finally cave in?
No, I asked my attorney if he talked to the prosecutor about getting things dismissed, and he said that he's working on the prosecutor. So whatever that means
So,
is what
so
I'm left with.
Sam, tell me a little bit about, like, has anybody that you, or not has anybody, how do I want to ask this? Is there anybody that you know personally, locally, that has reached out to you and said, what the hell happened? Why would you do something like this? Or, hey, we've got your back, or we're on your side?
No, I mean, I got this one, but
There's a few people locally that like have like contacted me that are from the Bellevue area that are outraged basically that this is happening, and they're taking it personal. And
I'm pretty much letting him just run the show, and I'm the fallout.
Well, no, I mean, there again, that's what I when I tell you that you've become an icon, I'm not saying that to be cheeky at all. I mean it. I think that's what sets you apart from, hey, like we all in this group, we all know who Tav, the angry vet, is. We all know, many of you are aware of who a Veterans Affair Media is. He was on with Tav and I when I had Tav on. Everybody in the group I know knows who Flex Your Freedoms is, right? And Flex has had multiple run-ins with law enforcement. That's kind of what he does. He doesn't go out there to look for the run-ins, but he has those experiences, and he knows that's coming. And we see how he's treated. Here you are, accidentally having this encounter that you never intended to have. If anybody out of the two of you would have been likely to have it, it would have been Nate.
Yeah, I mean, what did I do?
yeah, you would have thought.
And
See what you got me into?
but
Yeah.
it makes you stand out because it's eye-opening for a lot of people who would say, well, that will never happen to me. All of us who watch guys like Flex go, it's going to happen, it's going to continue to happen, and when it does happen, it's wrong. It's absolutely wrong, and it shouldn't happen. And then we watch somebody like you, Samantha, who literally is like what you ultimately got arrested for, contrary to what their report says about you. What you ultimately got arrested for was attempting to assist your autistic teenage son safely into his place of comfort and peace.
Yeah.
Having gone out of your way to completely avoid the area that the cop told you not to go near, and even going further around than you needed to, and still you got arrested. And I think that's what has made you stand out to so many people, if that makes any sense.
It does. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's like there's so many cases you see of this similar things happening, and it's like watching the videos, and a lot of them, when the cops come onto your property and violate your rights, they had a call, which not that it's right, but at least it was a call, somebody complaining about the people who own the house or investigate something like that. And whereas this with us, like it wasn't, the cops weren't there for us. It had nothing to do with us. They just showed up on our front lawn. And I think that's what makes it a little bit different. They weren't called for us. They weren't looking for us. And yet this is the result.
This is Nate's YouTube channel. If one of the mods could grab it and put it in so it works as a link, that would be great. And then if one of the mods could, once they head over and grab that channel link, if somebody could find the, I keep wanting to say gifts and go, the Go Send Me. If they want to, somebody could find the Go Send Me and put that in there as well. That would be great. And then we will also be putting it in the description of the video because we'd like to see you guys be able to cover your legal costs. And because we know there's going to be legal costs, obviously they're already there. So Samantha, you haven't really had anybody talk to you about it. I know your mom's supportive because I see her. Is it your mom or is it Nate's mom? Nate's mom.
Nate's mom.
Nate's mom's very supportive because I see her on Facebook. You know, you guys made me get Facebook because I just had to go and see what was going on, and it's just completely melted my world back down. I'm just like, now I'm like, oh, yeah. Anyway, oh hey, we got a lot of people popping in now. No pressure though. Hawk Fan for Life is here. Better HTTV Bailey's here. Nikki said the Angry Bet Center. That's interesting. I don't know who the Angry Bet is, but I'm assuming she means. Oh, it's Vet. Okay, so let's clarify, Nikki. The Angry Bet sent me. So, I was actually going to say, in a lot of ways, you are a little bit like Tav, Samantha, because Tav, the Angry Vet, did not intend to go out and become an auditor the way the way he is now. He literally was just covering his own treatment at the hands of the VA and started shooting video because it helps to have all of this data recorded, and they attacked him over it. I mean, literally labeled him, and we're going to get to you in a minute there, Mr. Nate, you dangerous person. They labeled him like basically just, predisposed to violence, for lack of better terminology. When he would walk in, people would just, freeze because there were these flags in his records about his behavior, which was just completely not his behavior was asinine, but it was asinine how he was labeled. And a Veterans Affair Media has had about the same experience. And so a lot of people stumble onto this, and that's why I think your story is resonating, Samantha, with so many people, is because you stumbled onto this. And so I'm really shocked that you haven't heard from more people in your community, either negative or positive, or they just might be afraid of you there, Mama Bear. That might be what it is.
I mean, you don't mess with my family. So one thing, I'm calm and I keep to myself, but if you mess with my kids or my niece, that's when the ugly side of me comes out.
Well, the ugly side of you is sitting next to you already, so. I treat all of my friends this way. And I'll just call you friends because you've been on my show and now you're on the second time, so that just makes you friends. But I've been doing battle for you too, so
yep,
it's been fun. It's I have a person that I really enjoy following on social media. His name is Spike Cohen, and he has a philosophy of bullying government agencies on the internet, and he's so good at it. So that's kind of I've picked up that practice. You just got to be strategic about how you do it. So, I'm going to share with everybody right now a screen grab that you have from some documents that you did a data request for and just got them here this last week. And I want you to tell everybody, one, the process that you had to go through to get this, to get just the reports. They will not release the body cam footage to you because the case is still pending. And your attorney said they're going to play hardball with him on getting these too. And he may not even get it until the day before trial, correct?
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's how they are. But you put in a request for the police reports, and you were a little shocked because we're going to show it now. What caught your eye almost immediately?
Sovereign citizen part.
Yep.
That's
I
what
want
they
everybody.
like.
Yep. I want everybody to note. I have this cropped down so it's a little larger for everybody to read, but I'll read here. A male exited and started walking toward me. I was later able to identify him as Nathan Haywood. I asked Nathan if he would stay back while I conducted a traffic stop, and he said I was on his property. Nathan began to argue with me about telling him to stay with away from the stop.
This
Professionalism.
drives me
please.
crazy because I'm a teacher.
I wrote reports every day of my pretty much every day of my career, hundreds of them, and I'm like, this is terrible. I asked him to go inside, and he asked me if I suspected him of committing a crime. I told him yes, obstructing. Now I want to stop here. I want everybody to note right there. The officer flat out said he suspected Nate of obstructing that very second. Just opening his mouth was immediately obstructing in this cop's eyes. Did that stand out to you when you first read it? Or did you go to the sovereign citizen part right away?
I think I kind of went over the sovereign citizen part is kind of what caught me the most. But yeah, like even like as you saying that, bringing that up, like if that's the first thing I don't even recall him saying that as I don't remember him saying that I was obstructing off the bat. But if that's what was in his mind, why wasn't I arrested right off the start? Like
I don't remember the word obstruction until I was already in handcuffs.
And so that's what floors me is when I read that the other day, like that he said he suspected you of obstructing. Like nothing you had done up to that point was even anywhere near it, especially if it was that early on.
Yeah.
So he continues. As Nathan was interjecting himself into the traffic stop he was not involved in, a female exited the house and they both started to record me on their cell phones. I guess I can understand why that's in there, but I want people to understand that anytime you are dealing with cops, one, always film the police. Have you guys learned that now? Like,
yeah,
is that
sure?
I knew that beforehand.
Yeah, well, that's because Nate's ruined your life. That's why.
No, it's better.
But always film the cops. I don't care what the interact. I don't care if you're walking by them in the grocery store. Just film the cops.
Ready for it.
If you think it's a cop, just film them. You know. He continues, that female was later identified as Samantha Eason. Due to how Nathan was talking, I believed he was a sovereign citizen, and therefore I requested a third officer to respond due to the violent nature sovereign citizens can be known for. Just, folks, let that sink in. As Nate and I were texting back and forth about this, the first thing that he really said to me was, oh, so now I'm a violent sovereign citizen, sov sit. I got to be careful. We can't say this. We have to say sov sit. I'm a violent sov sit because I know my rights. Because I know what's right. I know what's wrong. And the what's terrifying about this is that was this cop's initial response. That's exactly what he went to, was this guy's dangerous because he's a sov sit, because he's questioning me. Folks, this is what's drummed into cops' heads every day of the week when they're on duty. They go to their shift briefings, and in their shift briefings, they hear about everybody, how dangerous the community is to them, how their job is to come home safe at the end of the night. And I'll tell you, I don't want cops out there getting hurt. One, it's just going to make everybody more at risk for danger if cops are getting hurt on a regular basis, because that means they're just going to be quick to hurt people more often. But what blows my mind is this mentality that questioning them, shooting video of them, makes you dangerous. It makes you dangerous. And when you're that weak, emotionally, mentally, psychologically, when you're that weak, that's dangerous for you and you need backup, you are going to have a very bad career and somebody's going to get hurt. Had you guys known that this was how he was calling out for backup, would it have changed how you were responding?
I probably still. I mean, we definitely would have still been recording. We might have been a little more careful how close we got to him. Just, I mean, the fact from knowing that he called that out over the radio when he called for backup. Like I've seen other videos and things, where whatever the first officer calls out over the radio, well, the next cop has no context, so all they hear is, hey, we got somebody potentially dangerous. They show up, guns drawn, ready to shoot, and the fact that that's what this cop did and went to, it's unfortunately, I know it happens, but it's appalling.
I still want to know why I was arrested if he was the one that was so dangerous.
Yeah.
Well, I've been speculating about that, and part of it is that you were a soft target. You were a soft target, and they picked you for the arrest. One, because you presented the opportunity. You were naughty. You did the one thing that you were told not to do. And it says that in the report, that you did what he told you not to even step on the concrete, and you did it anyway. He doesn't detail the reality of where you were walking or how you were walking. He doesn't detail any of that. He just makes it that you were a bad girl and you had to be made an example of. But here's something else. And I don't know if you've thought about this at all, but I've thought about this a lot since the first time that you were on. He targeted you because targeting you was going to do one of two things to Nate. It was either going to ramp Nate up and make him act out more, which would have then justified a more aggressive arrest on Nate. And that would have removed the adults from the home, which would have then given them cause to remove the children. I know this sounds like a spiral, but this is exactly what you have to understand about how they think. For them, it's always about how much damage, how much emotional distress, how much pain and suffering they can put on you in the moment. And so he was either hoping to provoke Nate so that they could justify an arrest, which then would justify involvement with, I don't know what Nebraska calls it, Department of Children and Family or DPS or whatever, child care advocacy or whatever it is, so that then they could justify that, especially with the special needs son, right? Because you let him know, like, hey, my son's coming. Did you or did you not tell him he was autistic or no? But then when they have you both in custody, they've got the doors wide open for them to do just about anything else that they want to do. Or arresting you would shut Nate down. That was his goal. One of those two. It was either I'm shutting him down or I'm going to have cause to arrest him. That's what was in his head. I personally think it had less to do with shutting Nate down and more to provoke Nate, because he'd already made it clear when you read his report that he already saw Nate as guilty of obstruction and he saw him as a sovereign citizen. He was jonesing for a reason to provoke Nate to do something that would cause him to have justification to use force on Nate. Can I say that beyond any reasonable doubt? No. Can I say that from watching hundreds of hours of video and having listened to officers talk about their experiences? Yeah, absolutely. That guy was jonesing for a use of force incident. He wanted Nate to do something.
Yep.
Nate's just like, yeah.
Yeah. On the surface, like the whole, like anybody that looks at this and just sees, oh, a cop did this. But yeah, when you break it down, it's more beyond just a simple arrest. Like you said, I'm a sovereign citizen. He wanted to provoke me. Like, can you prove what someone else was thinking? No, but it all makes sense. Like, all their actions and things like that. It's what they do.
When you read that now, is that in the back of your mind, right? Just kind of in the back of your mind, like when you're driving, is if I get pulled over, is that gonna, is that a flag in there? Is that?
Yeah,
And if it wasn't, I'm sorry to make it there, or put it there now, but
it definitely is something that I've kind of got in the back of my head all the time now. Is if they were willing to do what they did when we did nothing, what are they going to do some other time when we're not at our house, or when they think there's no cameras going or anything like that? I just seen a video the other day from the civil rights lawyer where, I don't know if, I'm sure some of you guys have seen it, where the guy was riding a four-wheeler in someone else's lawn allegedly, and then the cops showed up and went inside this guy's house and shot him, and conveniently no video. So it's like, and then it come out that that guy was on Facebook or whatever making, like, it known that he didn't like the police, and which is obviously what we have done because of what they did. So now it's the whole retaliatory factor, like, do we have to worry about that? Should we be going anywhere by ourselves? Every time you see a cop looking over your shoulder, what's going on at the police station? Do they have our pictures up? Any excuse you can. It's, yeah.
You think you're that important? No, you are. I mean, I'm saying that tongue in cheek. So what were you saying, Sam?
I second guess how the resource officer at my school interacts with me now.
Yeah, you said that to me when I think in our first conversation you mentioned a little bit about that, but I know that we followed up and chatted. We've chatted a couple of times since then, and it's and here's, I could almost, for anybody who's watching right now, who's in the live chat, even if you're a moderator, put a 1 in the chat if your experiences with law enforcement to date, up to this day, have now made you paranoid in a regard of any way, in any shape or form, have made you paranoid now when you see a cop on the road or when you go by a cop and make you go, are they looking for a reason to stop me? Are they looking for a reason to interact with me? Because they all talk. So if you have kind of a little bit of paranoia or a little bit of anxiety when you see cops now, put a 1 in the chat. If you've had a lot of interactions with cops and you don't have any anxiety or any paranoia, put a 2 in the chat, and then we're going to, see about getting you some psychological help. That's Veterans Affairs Media says, yeah, 1. I know I do. Like, I had State Patrol pull up next to me today. I saw him coming from way behind me. Way behind him. He was flying, and I thought, oh boy, I got another video of a cop driving like an ass. And he pulled up next to me, and I may or may not have given a First Amendment protected gesture as he went by. And then his lights came on, and I'm like, well, here we go. So he was pulling somebody else over to economically terrorize them on the side of the road as they were going home from work, I'm sure. But yeah, pretty much everybody's saying, the ones that are responding, and there's no twos. And I don't think anybody wants to admit that there's not a little paranoia involved. Um, when you said something that I think is really key, that should we even leave home? If we if we do leave home, should we always make sure we've got somebody with us? Um, is that really a thought that's been in your mind a lot, or is that only since the report came out?
That's from the beginning, yeah, but after reading that report, like it's been a lot more. Like the fact that that's how they labeled me for speaking about what my rights are or trying to inform somebody else of their rights. And it's the fact, instantly, potentially dangerous, violent. Like, other than talking, I did nothing to show violence or anything like that to lead him to believe that. And yeah, it's who
Well,
knows what they're,
let me ask this if I can. When you look back on that night, and this is just a genuine, however you feel about the outcome of that night, when you look back on that night, is there anything that you would change or would have done different compared to what you actually did, based on the time you've had to reflect on what happened?
The only thing really, I mean, I did use a lot of unpleasant language, which I was.
No, it's protected, so
that, I mean, that's probably the only thing I would have tried not to say so many bad things, because when if we take this to court, maybe it shouldn't be that way, but they look at the video and they hear me cussing or whatever, the judge is gonna be like, oh yeah, he's definitely violent. Like, maybe I would have tried not to cuss so much, but other than that, I mean, that's such a small thing that should make or break a difference, between someone going to jail or not. But no, I mean, I definitely still would have been out there recording, and had that officer just continued what he was doing and let me and Sam stand there with our phones in our own yard, I wouldn't have been engaging with him and yelling at him like it was when he started telling me orders. Like, if he would have just done his job and not worried about me standing in my lawn or Sam standing in our lawn, none of this would have happened, and he just wanted another arrest.
I've honestly wondered if, like, announcing that I was stepping on the driveway is what got me arrested, because I don't think he would have even noticed had I just walked across the driveway.
Yeah, for how far away he was and looking the other way, and yeah.
How do I want to ask this, Samantha? Is it really the case that you think maybe if announcing it caused the problem, or are you just one of those people who likes to second guess themselves?
I mean, I always second guess stuff. I'm a special education teacher, so I'm always thinking like the what ifs, or how could I have done this to make this work. But I mean, if you look at the video, like, me announcing it is what got his attention in the first place. He had no idea. He had left me alone until I was loud enough for this one to still not hear me say that I was going to get my son. Like, it clearly took his attention away from my niece.
Well,
not that it should matter, but
right there. That's what I wanted you to say was.
I don't think he would have noticed.
Well, right, but I'm not arguing that he wouldn't have noticed. What I'm arguing is in your mind, this guy's already upset. He's given these ridiculous orders that you can't even step on the concrete, on the pavement. And now all of a sudden you're in this position like, well, here's my son. I want to get him into the safety of his house and where he's comfortable because, especially with autism and kids who are on the spectrum, anything out of the norm, especially something like what was happening out in the driveway with the police car and seeing a loved one in that situation, can be very disturbing to them, correct?
Yes.
Yep.
So you're dealing with a volatile officer, and we now know he was volatile because he made a rash judgment about your behavior, Nate, and called out for backup based on your behavior as if you're some sort of dangerous individual.
Yeah.
Which could have, like you said, could have brought tons of people blaring, just blazing in to your little neighborhood, guns drawn, on edge, willing to do harm to someone because you might be different.
Yeah.
Than what they're used to dealing with. And so I think I'm trying to find your video, by the way. I think that what you did was actually wise. And he picked up on it and chose to use it in a way to do as much harm to you as he could without actually doing violence per se. You did the right thing saying, hey, I'm going to go help my son, which is a completely innocuous, very innocent, actually kind of de-escalating type comment. So for you to sit here and second guess yourself and say, maybe I should have, I can almost guarantee you that had you not said anything, it may have gone worse. It may actually have gone worse for you. I know that's not encouraging, but it may actually have gone worse for you. And so I don't want you to sit here and think to yourself that you did something wrong that provoked this. And the reason that it bothers me to hear you say that is not that obviously I'm not upset with you for saying it. What I'm saying, it bothers me that you are made to feel that way because that's how every single person feels when they're dealing with law enforcement now. That it's now their duty, it's their job to keep the cop calm. You've got to keep the cop calm. Your job is to de-escalate. It's your duty to de-escalate. And tell me that in the back of your mind now, that's not what you were, whether you knew it at the moment, that wasn't what you were feeling.
That's just my personality in general.
Well,
but yeah, I mean,
you're not playing the game well, Samantha. I'm
sorry,
muting.
That's my everyday job, is to de-escalate the situation. That's literally what I'm paid for.
Right, but does that extend to dealing with law enforcement? And should it?
It shouldn't, but it does. And apparently I should have been a little bit louder.
What? Are you saying that Nate's a loudmouth? I mean,
no, he didn't hear me.
We're going to go from a proposal at the end of the last time you were on to you guys breaking up by the end of this stream. Just
he didn't hear me say why I was stepping on the driveway.
Yeah, initially I was so into it with, the cops. Like I didn't even hear her say, you're this way, I'm going this way. I'm going on the driveway to get my son. Like I didn't even hear that, so focused on what, all the cops were doing. But I do think that the fact that she said that and it was like so clear on video is probably going to be what comes down to the lifesaver of someone seeing and being like, really? Like, nobody could legit look at this and say she was causing any problems. You could see her turn and walk away from the stop as far as she could, and it's like plain as day. So yeah, I'm glad that she did do that, point it out, and say it so clearly. I think that's what's going to save us in the end.
Yeah, I think it's I think it's like vitally important that people
I used my
understand.
teacher voice.
Huh?
I used my teacher voice.
Well, yeah, but you use your inside teacher voice. That's
Apparently.
yes, apparently, she says. As you go through this and you look at court coming up, and I know because you're a teacher, I know this about you without even asking, but I'm going to ask anyway. How many times have you looked into what the potential penalties for a conviction are in your case?
Actually, I'm going to surprise you.
You are,
And
because
I've looked it up
you told
once.
me you're going to surprise me, so the surprise is
I've only looked it up once. And then I listened to my lawyer and let it go. Otherwise, I would dwell on it. So he doesn't think I have anything to worry about, so I'm just going with that.
Is it hard for you, having looked it up and seen it? Like, what was your gut reaction when you looked it up and you saw what the penalties were? Because because it's considered in your situation, is it considered a misdemeanor?
I don't remember if it's a misdemeanor or...
I'm not sure either. I think it's all just been like such a joke that it's even happening that
But
trying not to look too far into that part of it, but yeah, it's...
I know without them trying to add on any other charges, I think the max was a year in jail.
Okay. Yeah, if they don't try to add anything else on. I don't. Well, so here's what if they were to add something else in, they'd add it in with hopes of getting you to plead to the lesser, because I don't genuinely believe that there's any chance in the world they can get a conviction on something more severe. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just trying to scare us basically, and to getting a cheap, easy win for them anyway.
Yeah, and I mean that's what, and I'm sure you've heard this. That's what they do. They really focus on trying to get you to plea out, so they spitball, they throw as much as they can at the wall to see what will stick, in hopes that they can get you for the least offensive thing, because they can actually get a conviction, is what they're looking for.
They can bring it on. I have 7 kids to set an example for. You don't settle when you haven't done anything wrong. You stand up for right, so.
And I'm glad to hear you say that, but I want you to understand too that much like the de-escalation effect, and I do see that all the time, and that's why I call it the de-escalation effect. The member of the public who's being pulled over or questioned or given orders by law enforcement, they immediately go into fawning mode, where they feel like it's their duty to be compliant, to de-escalate the cop, so as not to aggravate the cop, because the cop has the power, he has the gun, he's the badge, the taser, the pepper spray, all of that, and he's got other cops that can be there in a matter short amount of time. And so the non-cop goes into fawn mode of immediately, oh, I'm so sorry, please don't do anything, please, remain calm. And they may not be using those words, but that's that mentality, that shrinking violet type mentality. And it's the same mentality that I've seen a lot of people who are not guilty of the thing that they're charged with will then go into plea agreements and think, if I just take this plea agreement, this will all go away and everything will be better. And I'm very encouraged to hear you this far in after having, the attorney go to do a written plea of not guilty for you yesterday, saying no matter what, even if I'm looking at a year in jail, I'm not going to take a plea. And I can tell you right now, everybody that's watching it isn't wanting that. I know they're not wanting that, but there will be haters out there who do want that.
Hmm? There's always haters.
You know what you guys need to get better at doing, by the way?
Uh-oh.
You need to get better about putting your own original video up.
Yeah, I'm not. I need to figure all that out.
Because for the life of me, YouTube hates allowing me to find you even in my own subscriptions.
That's all him.
Yeah, I'm new to all of it.
Yeah.
Need to figure it all out.
Nathan, how are you handling this? And your attorney has told you that she doesn't have anything to worry about, but I mean, you've been run through the ringer through some things over the last few years of your life. How are you handling the idea that there's a chance that she could go to trial and not come home right away? And I'm not saying that to depress you.
Yeah, it really makes you think, like, if something like that does happen, it's not just a simple, oh, she's gonna, go sit in jail for a while like that. All of her children, all of our family, all of, my children, it affects a lot, like, we're gonna lose our home if something like that happens, we're gonna have to find somewhere else to live. Both of us have been divorced and we got, the other parents. It's gonna turn into a custody thing, like, you go to jail the way they are, they're going to want to take the children from you. So it's all that stuff in the back of your mind. Like, we know she did nothing wrong, but it's whether or not they're going to pursue and actually, like, try to do all that. It's not just, like I said, a simple, oh, she's going to jail. There's so much more and so much beyond all that lives it's going to ruin if that does happen. And like I said, we're not going to take a plea. I mean, ultimately, it's her decision, but I'm going to stand by her the whole way. And I know if they do something, all of you guys, our friends, supporters, and everything like that are going to help out. You're going to voice your opinions like you all already have. And I feel like in the long run, it's going to make a difference.
Oh, I think you're right. I think there's a really good, I think there's a really good chance that, how do I want to say this? The public pressure could be such that the plea that there won't even be a plea deal. It'll be just like, you know what, just forget it. We're going to make this go away. I think there's a good chance of that, but having spent time in the career field, especially on the detention end, dealing with people who are often walking into court, and this is a part where TC is depressing for you, and I don't mean to be. You always have to walk into these situations as you go into court, pre-trial, jury selection, and do you know in Nebraska, do you get a choice at this level between a jury trial or a bench trial? Do you have to do you know it all?
I don't.
Don't look at me.
No, yeah,
I've never been in trouble before.
I'm not sure as to whether. I know in Iowa, I'm pretty sure you can choose to have a jury trial, but I don't know.
As you look at this situation, whether you're going to be for a bench trial or a jury trial, you want to go into it expecting and planning for the worst.
Yeah.
And it's a terrible feeling to have, especially when your attorney's telling you, hey, you got nothing to worry about. I got this. We've got it under control. But, I'll use an example of a friend of mine. Her name is Lisa Hansen. She's from here in Minnesota. She had the audacity to keep her business open during the virus stuff against the governor's orders. And she went to trial. She represented herself. She was pro se. And even the prosecuting attorney, who was a complete witch, asked for just like a minimal, like a week or two or something like that. And the judge came back. Samantha, your face. She goes, I wish he would shut up right now. But the judge came back after the jury convicted Lisa and like slapped her with 90 days. And even the city attorney was like, and then you look at like Chili DeCastro, regardless of what your opinion might be on Chili, you look at Chili DeCastro and you go, did he deserve that? And you're like, there's no way he deserved 180 days. I don't care how much you hate him, he didn't deserve 180 days. And that's what I as hard as it is, I wish people could prepare themselves for that in a way where when the good news does come, you're so relieved that you're not, that it's almost shocking how relieved you are. As opposed to going into it so convinced that there's no way that a jury in their right mind could rule on the side of the prosecution, that when like you almost like slump to the floor and pass out from shock when they side with the prosecution. And it ties into the same mentality of why people take plea deals. I'm not a criminal. I have to do something to make this go away, and I have to make the pain as little as possible. So I'll take whatever plea deal they offer me as long as it makes the pain go away. It's the same reason why people get so sheepish during traffic stops or interactions on the street with cops, because they just want to de-escalate the cop, even though it's the duty of the cop to de-escalate. And then you also will go into a situation like this thinking people are going to be on my side. But the problem is we're all indoctrinated. Obviously, some of us are awakened now, but so many people are indoctrinated into believing that. Oh, did I blank out for you guys? Because you blanked out for me.
Yeah, just for a second. Yeah, you're back though.
That was weird. You guys blanked out for me, so it must have been something on my end. Yeah, weird. Technology is a wonderful thing when it's not working. So, Sam, have you watched your video much?
Oh, the proposal?
Say that again.
Are you talking about the proposal or the actual video of being arrested?
No, the video of being arrested. Have you watched it much?
I watched it a bunch when it first happened, and then.
Are you tired of seeing it?
I mean, I can pretty much like recite it word for word. So. I showed it to my 8-year-old grandmother, who was here this past weekend.
Yeah. So, how did Grandma take that?
I mean, she was on my side. What's that?
Yeah. Just
And
because
we light up
she's
a
grandma
little
and
bit.
has to be?
No, she was a little perturbed.
Did she blame Nate?
No.
No.
She didn't like all of his
Normally-
language, but
That mouth. He's got to watch his mouth
she's not big on the language. But
on the cursing.
yeah,
No more of that cursing. So, I think we've got. I forgot you have them all put up as like shorts.
Yeah, I made a bunch
you
of
didn't-
like highlights.
Yeah, you didn't actually put it all up in one long video, so I guess now somebody like me's got to come along and do that for you.
well, he has it in 2 separate videos.
There's like 2 15-minute videos that are up there, the original ones.
No, that's fine. We're not going to torture Sam any more than need be.
We can't do whatever we want.
He just fucking did. He said, if you step on the concrete, you're going to jail.
I get your position on that. Again, there's case law and it says what obstruction is.
Yeah. Exactly what you guys are fucking doing. You're obstructing our way of life. You're obstructing her fucking freedoms.
Touche.
You got her locked in the back of a car. That's kidnapping.
Not if she's being.
She didn't do anything.
Again, your position is that she didn't do anything.
It's fucking on camera. We recorded everything.
In terms of the law, it says what obstruction is. We can't just say whatever we want obstruction.
He just fucking did. He said, if you step on the concrete, you're going to jail.
I get your position on that.
Yeah, it's yeah. And since you asked about the proposal,
I mean, I watch that almost daily. It's
Well,
a
it's
little,
so-
like, self-confidence.
it's because it's so sweet. I'm such a smart ass.
The time he makes me upset, I just go back and watch it.
Are you implying that he upsets you?
Yes. There's no implication. He upsets me regularly.
There's no implication. She says he upsets me regularly. That's not how you start out a new relationship. You're not supposed to be upsetting each other. Oh, I'm a horrible person.
He
Picking on
stole
you
my
like
dog from me.
that. All right,
I'm not letting it go.
we're gonna. For everybody who didn't see it, here we go. This happened at the end of the last, or at the end of the show. The last time I had these two Yahoo soft sit troublemakers on. That's not the one. What the heck? There, we'll do this. We'll do it this way. I'm really good at this, by the way. I are a professional. I haven't even had any alcohol tonight, so I don't even know what's going on. I haven't had any of the Angry Vet's medications either. Here we go.
One thing that really got me during this whole thing when I was taking video, I believe you mentioned it earlier, the cop asked your girlfriend why was she. You can see.
Hey, that's what are you doing?
It's her property. Is she your wife or girlfriend?
Girlfriend.
So generally, we wouldn't leave it with you. If she says
Okay,
we
we
can,
live together.
right? If she says we can, then we
Okay.
can.
And you can see in the video, I had to pause. It went through my mind. I'm like, why is my wife what she's doing? And so that being said, Sam, I want to spend the rest of my life with you. Will you marry me? Will you marry me, please?
Yes.
Okay, so one thing that really got to me during this whole
There we go, folks. We got to see it again. I've never seen a look of so much happiness in my life. She was so excited.
You left out where he says how great I am, though.
Gee, I'm sorry. I have a minute to put shorts up. That's Like all I have is I wanted to cut in the part with the cop asking who you were to each other. I was trying to drive home the point that it really made him think. Really? It's easy for you to say I'm the one over here doing all the work. You're just the ones going to jail. Oh,
No more of that.
no more of that. Yep. No. Howard County Observer says congratulations on the proposal, by the way. So, and especially she said yes, which is huge. So that's a big deal. I mean, he's definitely punching up. He's marrying out of his class. So are we all invited to the wedding? The whole, like, everybody. We're all invited.
Make it public and
Yeah, we'll live stream it. You can live stream it for us because we're not
There we
having a
go.
big wedding.
I can live stream it for you from here. Set it up on StreamYard, and then we'll just put a camera in the back of the room
yep.
that'll stream it all.
You can come to the courthouse and live stream it.
Are you sure you really want to do a courthouse wedding after this?
Might not want to be going anywhere near the courthouse around here.
Well, we'll see how it all pans out, I guess.
So, how's the, as we get ready to close up? Howard County says, "What? We don't get cake?"
I don't even want a cake.
Blown. What do you want?
His dad makes this really awesome dessert. It's like an apple pie, but it's not apple pie. I don't know how to explain it, but it's amazing. It's better than cake.
He makes. Oh, come on. We're all just going to show up. We're all just going to show up. Everybody's like, all right, guys, when I find out when the wedding is, we're just all showing up. And we're all going to come with cameras, right? Every single one of us is going to come with a camera, and we're going to audit the crap out of your wedding at the courthouse. Tell me that would not be amazing.
That would be perfect.
Tell me that would not be the most amazing wedding in the world. Talk about you wouldn't have to hire a videographer or a photographer. You would have it all. You know what? That's actually sounds. You don't even have to feed us. We'll feed ourselves. Just let us come and shoot video at the courthouse when you get married. Just let everybody show up.
Sounds like a plan to me.
You hear that? Yes, we've got the bride on board, folks. So everybody start looking at your calendars. We're going to start working on getting this set up. So when Samantha and Nate look at Nate's face, he goes, "What the hell have we done? What have we gotten ourselves into?" You get it set up, get married at the courthouse, and we will all show up. I mean, it's only about a 5-hour drive for me, so I could do it in one day. I could be there and back. I don't even have to get a place to stay. I'll just come down, show up, and leave. You won't have to see me. Oh, that would be so amazing. An soft sit First Amendment auditor wedding. That would be amazing. You could show up with like merchandise T-shirts. You guys could get your own T-shirts. Oh,
Or mugshot on it.
No, not my mugshot.
Yeah, yes. That's what you need to do. One, you need to get T-shirts with your mugshot and sell them. And then everybody could show up with your T-shirt, with your mugshot on for your wedding. Oh, that would be amazing. Well, hello there, young lady. You're a star. Is she looking at herself on the TV?
The dog laid on top of her. He's about 80 pounds.
Oh, everybody's like, okay, Mom and Dad, can we please go to bed now? when is the school year done for you?
I'm doing summer school, so I'm working until the 3rd of July. So I drove last
You
night
were
to pick this
you
one
were
up. Didn't get home until
'cause she
2
missed.
a.m. Yeah, she missed me too much. Didn't get home until 2 a.m. and then I was up at 5:45 this morning so that I could go to work.
So have we picked a date for the wedding yet?
Talk to
No.
him.
Oh, I will. Don't worry. We are setting this up as everybody's coming in now because Angry Vet's got more people coming in.
We gotta get this.
We're showing up for your wedding. I like we're
First.
got a what?
Get this court stuff out of the way first.
No, I say you get married before court. Or get married on the day of court.
I don't know
And then
about
we
that.
can all be there for court. And no, she goes, no, no, I'm not doing that to my wedding.
Because his luck, I would go to jail. So we would get married and I would go to jail. And that would not be any fun.
Yeah, there's this whole thing about the wedding night that would just be ruined. Spending it with a bunch of female detainees in Tharpe County, which is just got to be a hellhole. Oh, so for those that are tuning in now and that are heading over because the Angry Vet sent you, this is Nate and Sam. The description of their event and the link to Here's the Deal's breakdown of Sam's arrest is in the description of the video. If you haven't watched it, go and watch it after the fact, and then head over to their Go Send Me. I keep almost inserting the wrong name there. Go head over to their Go Send Me and or GoFundMe, whatever it is, and donate to their legal defense, and then keep your eyes and ears open. We may just surprise them for their wedding. We may just all show up and surprise them for their wedding. At least those of us that are in driving distance. I think it would be hilariously fun to just be part of your wedding like that, especially if you're going to do it in the courthouse. I think that would just be an absolute riot. I think it would be like the best wedding ever. That's just me because it's not my wedding. You think it'd be fun, so you're in.
I'm in.
She's in. All right, folks, we do it. We got her. The bride is in. I know I said it once already, but yes, the bride is in on this. I will work on keeping everybody updated, and we will do everything that we can. Sam, any final thoughts before you guys head off? Because I know you're ready to go to bed.
I don't want to go to jail. I don't know.
What? Why? It's 3 hots and a cot. What could go wrong?
My baby would miss me.
Which one?
This one.
She'll probably be okay. Nate would fall apart.
He'd be fine.
Who's gonna make him? Who's gonna make his sandwiches?
Oh, he won't eat sandwiches. He
See?
doesn't eat bread.
Yeah, I'm a whole nother level.
You're.
He's extra.
Why am I not? He's always. He's. I thought he was basic. She says. Nate, now that you know you've been red flagged as a soft sit, gonna change anything about how you drive?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to try to avoid police at all costs.
Which it doesn't sound like it's easy to do because they sure seem pretty active in Bellevue. They got a lot of stuff going on.
There's literally like 4 cars that sit right outside of our neighborhood at the little fire department.
Yeah.
Has that always been that way?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. So that's not like something that's just recently developed.
No.
Oh. Well, you guys keep me updated, keep me abridged of anything that's going on, and if you do happen to get your hands on the body cam footage, I know there'll be others that would love to have it, but I would definitely like to have it as well, and we'll have you guys on and we'll go over it, and um, and if there's anything that you need, if you need some help getting that apple pie not pie dessert thing done, like that's the only thing I speak for everyone who says they could show up. We do need to be able to try the apple pie not pie dessert that Nate's dad is the only one that can make it. So
I'll see what I can do. You might not be very happy with me, but I'll see what I can do.
he's going to be baking for a year just to get ready for. How many people? I don't know. It could be anywhere from 12 to 2,000. We're not sure. What are we feeding them? Nothing. We're not feeding them anything. With the spillovers all going down to the old market afterwards. That's what's that. Is the old market still there?
Yeah.
Yep.
Hey. Oh, good. Well, you guys go and get some rest. Nate, we will be staying in touch to coordinate this to make your soon-to-be wife's wedding day the most memorable wedding day in the history of Bellevue, Nebraska. This will be amazing. I can almost guarantee you right now that Tab it will be in on this. So, oh, guys, go get out of here. Go enjoy yourselves. I'm going to do a close up and show for myself a little bit and show for you guys a little bit more, and we'll stay in touch. Okay.
All right. Thanks for having
And
us.
remember, politely harass your local police department on their Facebook page. So, all right. We will talk soon. All right, folks. This was mostly just an update because I wanted you guys to hear that the law enforcement officer on scene decided to label Nate a soft sit. And I wanted you guys to hear that Samantha is still standing strong, that she is not going to take a plea deal because she hasn't done anything wrong. And I think that's the amazing thing to hear. And that's what I was saying about her in, at the beginning of the conversation. What makes Samantha stand out so much is the accidental nature of what happened to her. And like I said, she reminds me of the Angry Vet. She reminds me of a Veterans Affairs. There's this reality, and people like Long Island Audits, Sean from Long Island Audits, even James Madison Audits, Honor Your Oath, Jeff Gray, Flex, Baltimore County, I think it's a BCO. I know we got HCO in here too. There's a reality when you do this, when you're a Sean or you're a Flex or whoever you are, you're going to have run-ins with law enforcement. You know that arrest is likely because they love to do it. They love to put it out there. And so what happened to TAV, what happened to AVA, what has happened to so many others is that they become accidentally aware and therefore accidentally awakened to doing this. So what happened to Taft? They turned him into an auditor. They turned AVA into an auditor. Even if they don't identify that way, that's what they've done. And we had Bailey from down in Marion, Iowa watching. They just labeled her an auditor for speaking at a city council meeting and saying that she's going to film interactions with law enforcement. And now she's an auditor. And there's this negative connotation to it that they can now just slap on people. And we're watching this happen. And that's what they're now doing with Samantha. She just accidentally has this interaction with law enforcement in her own driveway. And now she's got this label. Nate's got this label because they stood up for their rights. That's ridiculous. And so for all the haters that are out there, for all the people who are so focused on, oh, as a member of the public, you have a duty to be as compliant as humanly possible with law enforcement because they have a tough job and you shouldn't be out there trying to make it more difficult than it already is. And, if you would just obey, if you would just comply, if you would just, it's not, when you're interacting with a cop, it's not the time to have the argument, comply or get arrested. You just comply and you deal with it, later. You just go deal with it later. That's what you're supposed to do. And I say yes to that. I say absolute BS to that garbage. It is not our duty to de-escalate the situation with law enforcement. That's not our duty. It's their duty to de-escalate. It's their duty to make the right decisions in the moment, not ours. I'm not advocating for doing harm to someone, but you don't have a duty to talk to them. You don't even have a duty to say nice things to them. And we heard that with Nate. I felt a little like maybe I shouldn't have swore. Maybe you shouldn't have. But you have a constitutionally delineated natural right to speak your mind to the government, whether they like how you're saying it or not. So tyrants beware. You asked, what are the charges? And I think they got her on interference/obstruction. That's what they got her on. And they just got her on the one. They didn't even write her up for anything else, which was really shocked me that they haven't, that the prosecutors haven't thrown anything else at her. Howard County Observer says, I'll never consider myself an auditor, even if cops label me as one. I'm an observer. And that's exactly the way it should be. I think it's very easy to euphemistically refer to what people are doing as auditing, and it's not bad. But now what they've done is they have absolutely used it as a label. The same thing with just throwing out soft sit on people. And that's what bothers me. And I can almost guarantee that every single person watching this, if you've had any interactions with law enforcement where you said, no, I'm not going to listen to you, I don't have to talk to you, or you shot video of them, you're in their system now as an auditor. I can almost guarantee it. And for those of you that are catching a peek of my t-shirt, I decided to be cheeky tonight as I was having my conversation with Sam and Nathan, and wear one of my old duty t-shirts, because sometimes I like just to throw it in the face of my former employer who came after me for my podcast for daring to buck the status quo starting in 2020. And every once in a while, I just like to just remind them I'm still out here and I'm still watching them. But I really appreciate everybody stopping in and paying attention to what Sam and Nate had to give us for an update. And I thought you guys would enjoy hearing, well, not enjoy, but be intrigued by, but not shocked at the fact that they've labeled Nate a soft sit. And I wonder how many of us have that label. You know what I mean? How many people in the chat now, how many people how do you how many of us, unbeknownst to ourselves, have had any interaction with law enforcement that's got us labeled? I know I do. I know I've been labeled, and I bring it on myself. So it may have something to do with, well, here, since you guys are still hanging out and I'm not quite ready to go, I put this short from a longer video that I put up the other day. So if you're not familiar, my channel's not about auditing per se. It's about government accountability, public service accountability, and always has been. That's always been the nature of this channel. And I talk a lot about political philosophy. I talk a lot about the differences and the similarities between Democrats and Republicans and how they're all authoritarians. But it's always been about accountability, regardless of who's in control and who's in power. It's always been about accountability. So I put up a video the other day entitled "Ponytail Cop Thinks Law Doesn't Apply to Her," and I did not. And it was a video of her speeding. Shock, right? I put that up, and I finally got confirmation of who she was, and so I put that confirmation up with this video today. Oh, you guys are gonna love this. So I should tell you guys to go watch it so I can drive up the views on it because I'm greedy. Come on, play now. Lewiston. Here we go. What you're about to watch is the chief of police of Lewiston, Minnesota, 30 miles out of her jurisdiction, clearly speeding. You can see here that my speed is 64 miles an hour in a 60. Not going to lie, but I'm keeping up with the flow of traffic. This chief of police, Kelly Boards, however, is passing traffic. She's 30 miles out of her jurisdiction. She's accelerating. She's pulling away. She's doing it 10 to 15 miles an hour or more over the speed limit. And as you can see, I accelerate to 70 and she continues to pull away. I cannot keep up with her. Now, some of you are thinking, hey, she's a cop. She's got places to be. I don't care. She's out of her jurisdiction. She has no justification to drive like this. She's got no justification to behave like this. But here she is. If this is how she drives, how does her staff behave? Corruption starts at the top, folks. We have to end this. Sic semper, tyrannis. What you're about to watch is the chief of... Yeah, so that's the video that I put up today, and boy, am I getting some heat from people. The bootlickers are out in force. Tyrant says, Tyrants beware. You should try to send this video and this information to the civil rights lawyer. I'm sure he would run it since he's done it 100 times. He usually sticks to Virginia, doesn't he? That's what HCO says. Actually, he covers a lot of stuff from people all over the country. It's just he only represents people. I think it's in West Virginia and Ohio, I think is where he's licensed to practice law. So, yeah. Juggalasis, the cops have labeled everyone. Doesn't matter who or what we are. We have been labeled. Absolutely. But yeah, the civil rights attorney does a great job of breaking videos down. And if you guys have never watched him, you really should. But I really doubt that anybody in this group needs me to tell them to watch the civil rights attorney. Another place that I'd like to send you guys, if you're interested, is the Institute for Justice. The Institute for Justice is very much a libertarian-esque think tank, and they do a lot of post-criminal trial work where they help people either appeal or sometimes even in their criminal defense. They really do a lot of work all over all 50 states to overturn just injustices, sometimes dating back decades or even going back, a century or more, to look at the foundation of court cases that have set precedents for things like curtilage, open fields doctrine. What's another? They really like to talk a lot about plain view doctrine, and I know we all know what plain view doctrine is. But they're also doing a lot of work right now on everybody's favorite topic, qualified immunity. and they're making some strides with things like qualified immunity. But the biggest cases they're working on right now that are really seeing a lot of success are in the cases of open fields doctrine and curtilage. And some states are really starting to rein in law enforcement when it comes to open fields doctrine. And in fact, Tennessee just recently reined in game wardens declaring warrantless searches on private land unconstitutional, regardless of the where they are on private land. And so the Institute for Justice has a lot of work going on in those areas. And so if you guys haven't yet, go and check them out, because they do phenomenal work. And for those who are maybe local to me in Minnesota, if you would please find somebody who is petitioning for my friend Rebecca Whiting. She's running for the House, or she's running for the Senate at the federal level against our local left-wing tyrant Amy Klobuchar. She needs 2,000 signatures by next week, beginning of next week, to get on the ballot, because she's not running as a Republican or Democrat. She's running as a Libertarian. And unfortunately, if you're not one of the two parties that make up the duopoly, the Unipart Party in Minnesota, you have to petition to get on, because you're not automatically granted ballot access. So if you know somebody in Minnesota or if you're in Minnesota and you would like to sign the petition, but you don't know who might have them, let me know, and I will send you a link to the petition at the Libertarian Party of Minnesota website, so you can print it off, sign it, and send it in. Or maybe get some of your friends to send it in. We have to do something to break the back of the duopoly here in the entire country. So that was my pitch for her. And a pitch for me, folks: if you like the channel and you haven't yet, please subscribe. If you like the content, please subscribe. If you would like to help me keep things going, I would really appreciate memberships, either here or at my Subscribe Star. I am working on putting out some exclusive content on my membership channel only. And one of them is going to be body cam footage of a conversation I had with a police sergeant who threatened to have me charged with filing a false police report after university president put his hands all over me and rubbed his ass against my crotch. Literally happened. I'll try and remember to link it in the description of this video if you don't believe me. And then tried to take my camera away from me as I was going in to film an event. And so I would just, I'm going to put it up for my members only for a while to let them digest it. So if you're interested in seeing that and seeing some of the other exclusive content that my membership is going to have access to, head over to the membership side. I think my lowest level is like $3.99 a month. And if you don't like to use Google, like I said, go to Subscribestar and we'll get you exclusive access to stuff there as well. Thanks for tuning in. Please tell people to come and watch this. Then tell them to watch my initial interview with Samantha and Nathan. And just remember, Samantha's in for everybody showing up with cameras to the courthouse in Sarpy County, Nebraska, when they get married, to do a mass videoing of the wedding ceremony. She said she's in. And so I will do my level best to try and organize that and get that going for everyone. My friends, I started this channel in April of 2020 because I was a deputy and a veteran of the United States Army. I swore an oath to keep and defend the Constitution of the United States and to protect the Republic from enemies, foreign and domestic. And what I saw happening in the build up to 2020 was you know what? Do not waste your vote voting Dem or Republican. Absolutely. Vote Libertarian and get some people elected to reign in government. Absolutely, Dale Elliott. Thank you very much. I've been telling people that in my area for so long now. In the build up to 2020, I saw things coming. I warned people that Republicans and Democrats were going to hurt us some way, some shape, some form. I said they're going to strip us of even more if we allow them. And of course they did. And so I launched my channel. And within a month, my former employer, the Olmsted County Sheriff's Office, came for me. And they could get nowhere because I had covered my bases, but they just kept building a case and building a case and building a case and making things up. And in February of 2021, they put me under internal investigation. 60 days for my channel, for my content. That's why I'm here. To prove that I was wrong about corruption in public servants, to prove that I was wrong in corruption with government employees, to prove that I was wrong, they came for me on made up stuff, thereby proving I was right. They wanted to silence me. And I said, I'm not going to shut up. And so they made an example of me. And so that's why, that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. That's why I tell the stories of people like Nathan and Samantha. That's why I've had Tav on. That's why I've had a Veterans Affairs Media on. That's why I've had people like my friend Lisa Hansen, who went she was imprisoned for 90 days for keeping her business open during the shutdowns. That's why I do these things. And so if you find it in your heart to support my work and what I do, I would love it. I would be very appreciative. Every little bit helps. Views, shares, likes, comments, memberships, every single bit of it helps. So for those of you that are over here because Tav sent you, I cannot thank you enough for taking the time to come in, and be looking forward to more content. I'm going to be having Tav on again pretty soon, and we're going to be having other conversations with other people around the country that are going through crap. And I'm going to be interviewing some political candidates as the season heats up and ask them tough questions. But yeah, get out there, find a libertarian, small government person that you can support locally. Let's make some changes in how our world operates. Oh gosh, folks, if you guys have not subscribed to Barry's channel, Indie News on the Street, you need to head over. You need to head over and check his stuff out. Barry is a former law enforcement officer who holds local law enforcement accountable from his scooter. He is an amazing man when it comes to accountability. So yeah, another guy who's had the scales fall off his eyes and understands what law enforcement has become compared to where it was even a few years ago. Is it okay if I restream this on Grindr? I didn't think that's what Grindr was for. But I don't. You know what? I don't care where you restream it, even if it's meant to be snarky. I don't care. You restream it wherever you want and send people my way. I would love it. So, but anyway, folks, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for listening to my conversation. And remember, if we can, we're all going to show up for Nathan and Samantha's wedding, and we're in a mass videoing of the ceremony just for giggles. Absolutely. We're going to do that. So my friends, until next time, I point this out every time I do this. Until next time, as my friend Monica made my tagline, she put it in a hand-done acrylic sign. Fight for your liberty. It is yours. Fight for your freedom. It belongs to you. I love you guys. Sic Semper Tyrannis.
We are go for liftoff in T-minus 30. Stand by for further instructions, Minnesota Black Room Regiment.
Secondary
my mark.
All systems are a go. All systems are a go.
Minnesota Black Robe Regiment, you are over the target. You are authorized to fire at